Hello, everyone. Jak Syn here on behalf of Fiend.com and Future Daze, and today it's another exciting episode of Artist Interviews. Today I'm sitting with Chaz Contreras, aka PSYK. How you doing today, Chaz?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
That's good to hear. Considering everything that's going on out there, I'm sure, in these uncertain times, a lot of people are having struggles and problems right now, but it's good to see that you're staying positive and you're working still.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Staying positive has definitely been key. I mean, I'm sure we've all gone through our ups and downs since quarantine started, and then, with everything else going on. But yeah, I've been doing my best to stay positive and stay focused, and looking forward to the future.
Well, that's really good to hear. You know what? And congratulations on everything you have coming very, very soon. I'm looking forward to it. I know everybody else out there is looking forward to it, and it's going to be amazing. So today we're going to ask you a couple of questions and see where it goes from here. You ready to get into it?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. What are three of your most memorable moments from your musical career?
I would say the first one was probably the first show I ever played. I had no idea what I was doing. Most of my sets are DJ sets, so like it was actually a pay to play set. So it was I think it was some company. I didn't know any better. This was about 2.5 years ago or so. I forgot the company name, but basically you had to sell your own tickets, which I did. And the more you sell, you get to pick your slot. Little did I know at the time that they didn't specify genres. So, I sold a bit of tickets. I had a bunch of friends and family there. And it was pretty funny because the person who opened the show was a country singer. And I was not aware that that's like how the show was based. And so we had a country singer open the show. And then we had like a jazz band go on afterwards. And then I played, which was like, at that time I had only released Gaijin, my first album. So I played like space wave music. And then afterwards there was a house DJ. So it was definitely an experience. I had a great time. Like, people that came to support were awesome. But yeah, it was definitely a memorable one, just, playing alongside country and jazz musicians. That's probably the first one. The second one is gotta be when we did Neon Rose Fest last November. That was pretty crazy all around. Like, there's so many different aspects that went into that, performing and then running it through Sin City. But I'd opened the show in Seattle. That was the first time. Oh, that was the second time I played in Seattle. The first time was with you and Street Cleaner, which was also really fun. But the Neon Rose Fest, we almost sold out at the Highland Bar for the Seattle show, and that was like, there was like 350 people there, which was the biggest audience I had ever been in front of. And opening the show for Betamax, Makeup and Vanity set, and Tokyo Rose was definitely something really special. And seeing all the fans there for everyone, and being able to kick it with all these artists that I've looked up to for so long, that was like a really memorable experience for me. I'll never forget it. It was all around just really rad. And probably my third most memorable experience, as PSYK, under PSYK, would be when we had Joy Bishop play May of last year. I co-headlined that. And also Joy Bishop was one of the first artists that I really, really dove into as far as synthwave, besides, Contras and the Chromatics. But so being able to co-headline alongside Joy Bishop was pretty amazing. And that was the first time that I felt super comfortable on stage. And it was mainly due to the fact that the fog machine was going off so crazy that I couldn't see the crowd at all. So I just got really into what I was doing, and I had no care in the world. And that was the first time that some people chanted my name, like PSYK, PSYK. It was pretty cool. I had never experienced that before. So yeah, that was definitely another really special moment for me.
Those are some pretty special moments right there. like going back to the first one that you were talking about, like being on a showcase show. Yeah, I know that all too well. You know, here in Hollywood, it's like when I was first starting out, like, God, it seems like almost 2 decades ago. It's so weird to say that now, but you know, that was one of the things. Like, if you wanted to play in Hollywood, you got on a showcase show, and it was all different kinds of like music. You know, big mashups of like different genres, like playing together on one stage. So you have like a metal band, you have an electronic act, and then you'd have like a hip hop artist. You know what I mean? And it was one of those things where you kind of go like, "What's happening here?" But no, I know all too well about pay to play and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, I don't miss those days. You know what I mean? I miss, you know, you kind of miss those days for like nostalgic purposes, kind of going like, oh, well, those are some of my first shows that I ever did. They're so great. But I don't miss the pay to play part because that was like a whole thing, you know, you get into.
Sure.
But then, you know, you have your other memories, like you doing Neon Rose Fest. I mean, that was awesome. Like, I didn't get to go to that event. I wish I had been able to you know, partake in that and go there and experience that with you guys. But that was so amazing to see like the photos and the videos from the event, because you guys really just like, you know, brought it on that. And then, you know, I'm sure that, you know, co-headlining with Joy Bishop was an awesome show as well. I mean, I know we had him here for Future Daze here back in, I guess you could say, June of last year. Wow, it's crazy though. It's been a year almost.
For sure.
Yeah, but you know, that's great that you got to do that event, and I'm sure like you're gonna have many more awesome memories to share as time goes on, dude.
I hope so, man. I hope so.
What would you say is your favorite album / EP that you've worked on?
Honestly, I think the one I enjoyed the most out of everything I've released so far would be the Neon Demon EP. I put a lot of thought and heart into that project, as I do most of my project. I mean, all my projects, but the movie, The Neon Demon, that's what it's based off of, is the movie. You know, Nicholas Winding Refn is one of my favorite producer directors. Obviously, he did Drive and stuff, but a lot of his other films, I really gravitate towards aesthetically, and that really inspired me to. When I watch his movies, it makes me want to write music. And I've always been gravitating towards the cinematic aspects of synthwave or you know, 80s inspired electronic music in general. And I really got to utilize that in the Neon Demon EP. I wanted to write something that was cinematic, but also had, you know, tracks with beats on them, and I really feel like I nailed it with what I had in my head, with what I wanted to do. And then the other side of that too is being able to collaborate with artists in the you know, synthwave scene. And for the first time, like Wolftron and Lucy in Disguise. And then my buddy Blaine, who goes by 64-Bit Wanderer now, from back home from Hawaii, he sang on a track with this girl I met out here, Christina, and they just did absolutely a phenomenal job on that. And so it was a really good experience. I enjoyed the whole process with that, and I was, you know, I think that's the project I'm most like proud of. And I want to kind of get back to that like cinematic aspect of writing. That's what I prefer to do. But yeah, I would definitely say that piece. And then the remix album I was able to do afterwards was a really cool experience too. I got to work with so many different artists for that. You know, Tonebox, Dream Hour, Michael Weber, you know, Dream Reaper. I love remix compilations in general, so that was really cool to see their adaptation of something I had, you know, written originally.
Yeah, you know what, that Neon Demon EP, it was, you know, listening to it, thinking back to listening to it, it really is cinematic. You really hear those elements in the music, you know what I mean? And it's great to see that, like, that's where you gravitate towards, you know, where you can kind of explore those avenues of sound and emotion coming out, like, really heavily. And then, of course, the remix EP was really good as well. You know, seeing everybody interpret things in a different way, like repiecing your songs together and how they feel, you know, like what they hear. So that was really good to see that as well. I'm looking forward to the next thing you have coming out. I know you kind of been teasing them a little bit here on social media. Akatsuki, right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, it's actually, Japanese is pretty funny. The way it's pronounced, like it's hard. Sometimes it's hard, but it's at least in the anime, I'm assuming they get it right. But it's Akatsuki.
Okay.
And that's like the most Americanized way of pronouncing it. I'm not Japanese. I love Japanese culture. It's probably my favorite culture. I'm unfortunately not Japanese, but yeah, Akatsuki. That's something else where I didn't really get to do the dark cinematic features that I will be doing on some of these other upcoming projects. But I basically what I did is I had written that track, the original Akatsuki track, for the Sin City compilation album Volume 1, and I kind of rushed it because I needed to get it done for the compilation. But I love that. I loved what I had like written. I think it just needed to be edited a little bit, which I was able to do. And I love the track so much that I wanted to again do like a remix of myself, do a remix of it, but then also include other artists like Facehugger and Chris Kea, who's from Italy, who's a really rad dude. He does a lot of different types of music. And so that's Akatsuki Part 1. I'll be releasing the last track of that EP this Friday, actually. And then I'm starting Part 2, which will be another rendition of the original song with three more remixes on that too.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. I know a lot of other people out there are looking forward to that as well, because it definitely does touch on that cinematic aspect that you love. And it's going to be exciting. What was the drive behind getting you into making music and performing live?
Well, it's kind of funny. Not a ton of people know this, but like I started writing raps when I was 16 years old. It was a form for me to express my feelings. And when I say raps, I don't mean like maybe the stuff you hear on TV. It was like I love the wordplay aspect of it, but it was really it was basically poetry, like slam poetry is what it grew into, more so than rap. So I started making raps and having people make beats for me to rap over around that age. And I did that and was in the hip hop scene, the underground hip hop scene until around 18, 19. And then I started slowly getting into the production side, making very simplistic beats, using GarageBand back then, and not really knowing how to structure, making beats and stuff like that. And it wasn't until, and that was my life. Like I used to write so much. I thought about lyrics all day, every day. And I slowly made that transition into production pretty soon after I heard Calm Truths for the first time, which was probably like 5 or 6 years ago. And once I heard that, I was just blown away. I never heard anything similar to that. It was so original and it was so complex. When you break down the Calm Truths' music, it's so complex, but his mixing abilities, and it just fits so perfectly. And it was just baffling to me, and I really wanted to learn how. I really wanted to find more music of that, but also learn how he does it. I've never been able to emulate that in any sense or form, but it definitely helped me find my own abilities in production. And that was a slow, long process. And that's kind of how I got into, making music in general.
Well, going from, sort of like that hip hop background, like having that, creating beats. I mean, it's like you don't really have a roadmap. You kind of stumble into this kind of stuff, and you kind of go like, I'm going to start, making my way through it the best I can, like trying this out, trying that out. And before you know it, it starts to snowball, and you start going, okay, well, then I can incorporate this, I can incorporate that. Before you know it, hey, I want to get into more of the production side. I want to know how to mix, how to master, how to, produce things, as well. Like, and then I want to start working with artists. And before you know it, here you are, you're playing live, you're making your own music, you're producing your own stuff, and you're working with other artists, you're collaborating as well. So it's really great to see that you're on this journey from, these humble beginnings, like where you're just kind of starting off, like doing little things here and there, to now full-blown production and, performing live. So it's really great to see that.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
What are you looking forward to accomplishing the most moving forward?
For my own music, like, honestly, I haven't been, I mean, I go in and out, I'm sure, like everybody else, as far as like motivation and inspiration goes. I kind of got to hit it while the juices are flowing, the creative juices are flowing. But I really just want to expand my sound, and not what I used to do before was I put myself in a box, or I tried to put myself in a box. Like, I want to sound like this artist, or I want to take elements from this artist. So now I'm just really focusing on like expanding my sound and originality, and really playing with different, not only techniques, but different subgenres and genres, and really trying to just find that creative aspect that sometimes might be, missing. Me making music in general, it's all inspired by a bunch of different things, and I make sure that I don't keep myself in a box, essentially, is something I've learned, especially the last year, and not worry so much about maybe how other people might interpretate my music, or care less about how others feel about it. As long as I enjoy the process and what I'm doing, I really just want to stick with that moving forward. And I think that's the way I'll make the, best music I possibly can.
That's really great to look at it like that. You got to think outside the box. Us as artists, sometimes we get so stuck in our head, like we kind of go, like, we think we have to compress everything that we do and our creativity down into this, little area. But no, it's, being an artist is so much bigger than that. You can go any direction you want to go. You don't have to be shackled to one thing. You can explore, you can experiment, you can, and just because it's different from something that you've released before doesn't mean it's going to be bad. It's all in the way that you interpret it as, as yourself. Right. A lot of people kind of go like, oh, well, this sounds so weird and out of the, the realm of what I've come to love from this artist. You go, well, you know what? Hey, this is how I feel right now. This is what I'm creating. So, I don't know where I'm going to be in the next year or the next year or two. I don't know how I'm going to be feeling then, but I do know that I'm going to be creating, and that's what's important.
I agree 100%, man. And even to extend on that just a little bit is, I mean, that's where it's at. And I don't, the other side of it is I want to make sure that, I want to reach as many different people as possible from all over the world. And I really like creating the darker, heavier stuff, but I also like creating the really chill stuff. And then obviously the cinematics parts, and divvying in some new other subgenres too. I just can't stay in one lane. It's just not in my blood. It's I like to experiment and try new things and develop my techniques. And I think I don't think a lot of people know this either, part of my name PSYK is like, there's a few different reasons of why I have that name, but one of the most prevalent is obviously the 80s saying like psych, but the thought process behind that is like, you think I'm gonna make one style of music, and then I do this other completely different style, kind of psych people out on.
Well, you know what? It's a great name. And you're right. It does kind of go like, well, I think it's going to be one thing, but it's not. Psych. You got psyched out, guys. Because guess what? I'm going to hit you with whatever I want to hit you with. So that's just the way it's going to be. And yeah, you don't have to stay in your lane. You know what I mean? You can go any which way you want to go. So, keep creating, keep pushing, and keep making that different style every time. What positive message would you give your fans out there?
I think the biggest one, it's a little bit of a cliche, but it's just, stay true to yourself, stay true to your art, and do what you feel in your heart like you want to do. Like, never try not to forget, not necessarily where you came from, but the reason you got into music, and hold on to that as much as possible, and don't let the critics sway you from what you want to do, really. As long as I think you can stay true to your art, is really where it's at, man. And you know, stay humble and show a lot of love, because that's where you're gonna be able to meet tons of people, fans, artists alike, and it's really, you know, stay attached to the community. I think that's one of the biggest things too. Is we all help each other out. We all have each other's back for the most part, and you need to keep that positive, you know, vibe flowing, and be there for each other, because you know we can't really do this without each other. That would be my definitely my biggest suggestions to you know, newer artists.
You know what? Yeah. Some wise words right there from Chaz, everybody. Take those words in. Stay humble. And really, we're not succeeding unless we're all succeeding. Help everybody. Help nurture creativity. Help to you know, stay involved in the community that you're in the genre that you're in, you know, and with other artists and other fans out there. Like, stay connected with everybody, because that's what's really important. Thank you so much, Chaz, for taking the time to do this interview today. Thank you to everybody who took the time to tune in and watch us have this conversation. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe to our Fiend YouTube channel, as we have many more awesome artist interviews like this one on the way. So thank you so much, Chaz. I look forward to seeing you again next time.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you, man. Take it easy.